They call it the Hawk. It isn't a bird. It is the wind that screams off Lake Michigan in January. It is a physical force that cuts through down jackets, freezes tears on your cheeks, and finds every single gap in the skyline of Chicago. In the summer, Chicago is a city of festivals and lakefront beauty. But in the winter of 2026, Chicago transforms into a machine designed to kill anyone without a key to a front door. We are standing on the corner of Michigan Avenue and Wacker Drive. To my left, the luxury boutiques are selling $3,000 coats. To my right, down a flight of concrete stairs, is a subterranean world where hundreds of people are huddled against the pillars, praying that the temperature doesn't drop another 10 degrees. This is the city of big shoulders, but those shoulders are shrugging off the weight of a humanitarian disaster. We are witnessing a system collapse, a collision of extreme weather, a broken housing market, and the lingering aftershocks of a migration crisis that pushed the city's resources to the breaking point. Welcome to Chicago Homeless Crisis 2026, frozen streets, deep poverty, and system collapse. Today, we are going to ride the rolling hotels of the CTA Red Line, the only shelter that never closes. We are going to descend into the dystopian tunnels of Lower Wacker Drive. We are going to investigate the frostbite epidemic filling the emergency rooms of Cook County, and we are going to ask, how does a world-class city allow its citizens to freeze to death in plain sight? This is the uncomfortable truth about the Windy City. To understand the Chicago crisis, you have to understand the cold. This is not the damp cold of Seattle or the dry cold of Denver. This is a wet, heavy, penetrating cold. When the polar vortex dips down, the air temperature hits 10 below zero. With the wind chill, it feels like -40. At -40, exposed skin freezes in under 10 minutes. We started our investigation at the Cook County Health Burn Unit. It sounds strange, a burn unit in winter, but frostbite is a burn. It is a thermal injury. The tissue freezes, crystals form in the cells, and the flesh dies. We spoke to a trauma surgeon who looked exhausted. We call it the thaw season, he told us. People come in with feet that are solid blocks of ice. They don't feel pain at first. The pain comes when we warm them up. And then comes the smell of gangrene. We are performing amputations here every single week. Toes, feet, fingers. It is medieval. But where do people go to escape the hawk? They go to the trains? Chicago's CTA system is unique. 2 lines, the red line and the blue line, run 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. They never stop. And because they never stop, they have become the largest homeless shelter in the Midwest. We boarded the red line at the 95th Dan Ryan station on the south side at 2 a.m. The car was warm. The smell was a mix of wet wool, stale cigarettes, and unwashed bodies. Almost every bench was occupied by a sleeper. We met a man named Marcus. He was wrapped in 3 coats and a blanket. He had a large garbage bag tied to his wrist his entire life. I ride from 95th up to Howard, he said, his voice low. That takes about an hour and a half. Then I switch cars and ride back down. I do that 4 or 5 times a night. It's the only place where the wind can't get me. Marcus calls it the rolling hotel, but it is a hotel with harsh rules. In 2026, the city is under immense pressure to clean up the transit system for commuters. We witnessed a rapid response team of security guards and K-9 units board the train at Jackson Station. They shouted, woke people up, and forced them to sit upright. "You can't lay down," the guard yelled at a sleeping woman. "Sit up or get off." Imagine the cruelty of that choice. It is 3 a.m. It is 10 degrees below zero outside, and you are being told to wake up and sit straight or be thrown out into the lethal cold. Marcus sat up. He stared straight ahead. He endured the harassment because the alternative was freezing. But not everyone rides the train. Some go underground. Chicago is a city built on top of another city. Lower Wacker Drive is a multi-level street system that runs beneath the skyscrapers of the Loop. It is a maze of concrete pillars, exhaust fumes, and darkness. It is famous from movies like Time's Batman Asterisk, but for the homeless, it is a permanent address. Down here, the hawk cannot reach you. We walked the length of Lower Wacker. It feels like a post-apocalyptic bunker. The roar of the drag racers and delivery trucks echoes off the walls, but tucked away in the shadows, behind the concrete barriers, are the tents. We found an entire community living near the river intake pipes. They call themselves the Mole People. We spoke to a woman named Sarah. She has lived underground for 2 years. It's toxic down here, she admitted, pointing to the black soot on the walls. The car exhaust, the dust. You cough up black stuff every morning, but it's dry, and the police usually leave us alone because they don't want to come down here either. Sarah's story highlights the deep poverty of Chicago. She used to work in a cafeteria in one of the towers directly above her head. She served lunch to the bankers and lawyers. Then the cafeteria closed. Then the rent went up. Now she lives 20 feet below her old job in a tent. The disconnect is vertical. Upstairs, wealth, warmth, power. Downstairs, darkness, fumes, survival. And complicating this entire crisis is the system collapse caused by the migration surge. Since 2023, Chicago has received tens of thousands of asylum seekers bussed from the southern border. In 2026, the infrastructure has completely buckled. The police station lobbies, which were used as temporary shelters, are now closed. The dedicated migrant shelters are full. This has created a painful friction on the streets. We call it the battle for the bottom. You have the traditional homeless population, often African American men from the South Side and West Side who feel forgotten. They have been on waiting lists for Section 8 housing for years. Then you have the new arrivals, families from Venezuela, Colombia, West Africa, who are desperate, freezing, and unfamiliar with the brutal Chicago winter. We saw this tension play out near a food pantry in Uptown. A fight broke out over winter coats. "They get hotels," a local man shouted. "I'm a veteran, I fought for this country. Why am I sleeping under a viaduct while they get room service?" It is a conflict of the dispossessed. Two groups fighting for the same crumbs of compassion in a city that doesn't have enough to go around. The city government pits them against each other, fighting over a shrinking budget, while the real estate developers in the West Loop continue to build luxury condos that sit half empty. We visited one of those gentrifying neighborhoods, Fulton Market. 10 years ago, this was meatpacking plants and empty lots. Now, it is Google, McDonald's, HQ, and apartments that rent for $4,000 a month. Under the metro tracks that run through this wealthy district, we found a man named Old Timer. He was burning cardboard in a metal bucket to warm his hands. "I used to work in this building." He pointed to a gleaming glass tower. It was a cold storage warehouse. "I loaded trucks. Now it's a doggy daycare and a sushi place. They didn't just price me out of my apartment, they priced me out of my history." This is the essence of the Chicago crisis. It is a city that is rapidly evolving for the rich while simultaneously devolving for the poor. The middle is disappearing. You are either in the high rise or you are under the bridge. As the sun sets over the frozen Chicago River, the lights of the city turn on. It is undeniably beautiful. The architecture is world class. The skyline is a monument to human achievement. But down here, on the street level, the wind picks up. The temperature begins its nightly plummet. The hawk is hunting. We watched as a night ministry van pulled up to a curb. Volunteers jumped out, handing out hot soup and hand warmers. It was a drop of warmth in an ocean of cold. One volunteer, a young medical student, told us, "We aren't solving homelessness tonight. We are just trying to keep their hearts beating until morning." That's the bar. That's the standard of success in Chicago, 2026. Did you survive the night? Chicago is a tough city. It prides itself on grit. But there is a difference between grit and cruelty. Letting thousands of people freeze in the shadow of untold wealth is not toughness. It is a moral failure. As we packed up our cameras, a train rumbled overhead on the L tracks. Inside, we could see the silhouettes of the sleepers, rocking back and forth, traveling in an endless circle, going nowhere, just trying to outrun the cold. This is the uncomfortable truth about the Windy City. The wind blows for everyone, but only some of us have walls to stop it. Thank you for watching this investigation into the frozen crisis of Chicago. It is a chilling reality in every sense of the word. If you believe that housing is a human right and that no one should freeze to death in America, please asterisk this video. It helps us break the silence. And please, subscribe to America's Uncomfortable Truth, We will continue to document the struggle from the subways to the streets. Leave a comment below. Have you ever felt the Chicago cold? Imagine facing it without a coat. Stay warm, look out for your neighbors, and never stop demanding the truth.